Hello and welcome. If you have ever found yourself keeping your pastors at arm's length, these ministers explain what that distrust might really be about, and it is deeper than you think.
My question relates to trusting pastors. Some thoughts have visited me saying stuff like, I don't like these people's results. I don't see a life here that I want to be like. And that coupled with the way some matters have been handled around me. They put a smiley face there. Everything be pointing me to wanting to keep pastors at arm's length. But now me go suffer, I know. Also, I think this distrust, not submitting totally to spiritual authority, might be reflective of my walk with Jesus. Is at the beginning of this year, the Lord was saying to me, do you believe? And I don't know how to appropriately handle it. I need help, sirs. The good thing with this question is the Lord is already speaking to this person. Yeah, so they already know. So because someone can ask this question who don't even believe they should submit to pastors or there's any benefit and how issues have been handled, okay? What I'll say to this person is, and I think we've shared it in what we've shared earlier today, that experiences are not messages, okay? They are not doctrines. So your experiences with pastors in the past or how pastors have handled other issues, because everybody is different, okay? Everybody is different. Look at the example I gave about somebody who is not single. So how a pastor will deal with Sister A will be different with how the pastor deals with Sister B. There is no formula. This thing is spirit, okay? Because remember, God puts so much into bringing everyone into this world, okay? So what is applicable to Princess will not be applicable to Yubi, in addressing certain issues. Even though you're both going in the same direction, you're both meant to end in God. But Satan has his intricacies. He deals with people in different ways, okay? So I just encourage this person, because the Lord is already speaking to you. I don't want to belabor it, that you already say is already affecting your walk with Jesus, okay? The reason God put pastors there is to watch over your soul, and they do it as those who will give account, okay? No pastor is just deliberately wanting to look into your matters. Me particularly, I don't have the time, to. But if you want to be pastored, you will be pastored. That's what I found. If you don't want to be pastored, even if you have a pastor, you will not be pastored. So the fact that you are assigned a pastor does not really means you are being pastored. So when the Bible talks about the sheepfold, the sheep that is lost strayed out, okay? The shepherd was there, but they strayed out and they went. And once you go across the fence, you expose yourself, to a lot of danger. Yeah. So even though you carry nourishment, because the shepherd has been feeding you for a time, but when you detach yourself from the shepherd, there is more. See, the protection of the shepherd is beyond just the grass that you are feeding on. There are dangers around. Okay? There are dangers around. And I've also found that people who don't trust pastors, it's not just pastors, they also don't trust their brethren. Because I've seen a situation where what will have fixed this particular sister's situation was if she disclosed her movement to her sisters. Do you understand? So when you start to, and you will be reflective in your walk with the Lord, you'll be reflective. You will say it. So I think I'll pause on that. Pastor, I don't know if you want to say something on that, because I just feel that this person, if there are other questions like it, I can expand further here.
So I think I was speaking with someone recently, and something like this came up. It was more like, actually almost this exact kind of question came up. I think where we ended up was because the word trust. The thing is, you have to trust something at the end of the day, right? You have to trust, even if you say you don't trust anybody, it's really not true. What you're saying is you really trust yourself. What you're saying is you trust yourself more than everybody else. But at the end of the day, you have to live a certain way. You have to make life decisions. You have to do all that. And you have to do that based on some kind of principle. So if you're saying you don't trust your pastor, what you're saying is you trust yourself more than your pastor. That's what you are really saying. You're saying that you rather live based on what you feel is right to you, because you trust that more than what your pastor would say, right? So, I think that when you think about it that way, like you said that someone who has this issue most likely will not also have issue of trust, right, with their brethren. So for this person, I think that person needs to be honest. You just be honest with yourself and say, okay, your lack of trust, is it based on preference? That maybe, I would prefer if this pastor was a different kind of person. And if maybe he handled things a bit differently, because that's how we prefer things. Or is it that you really feel that maybe the pastor has deep issues, like we doctrinally, maybe he's not interpreting the Bible correctly? You feel maybe there's something wrong with his judgment or his spirituality, that his counsel does not align with the Word of God. Because I think that one is deeper. Yeah, that one is deeper than the other one. The other one is because the other one, if it's that you can't argue with the word, you can't argue with the wisdom, the scriptural basis and all, but it's just that you don't just feel somehow, you don't just like it, then that one is different. You have to deal with yourself at the end of the day. Because God's standard will not bend for you. In fact, you don't even want that. You don't want to bend the systems and God has put around you to safeguard you to your own preference. You want to deal with those issues, and the way you do it is that submit yourself to God, submit yourself to the Word of God, and discern your pastors as representatives of Jesus and His Word. And if you shift that view of them, it will be easier for you to put your own preferences down and submit to that. But if it's something deeper than that, if you somewhere really believe that the way this pastor is, this judgment, maybe scripturally, or the way he's applying the Word of God, and all of those things are not really correct, and you have issues with that, then I would say you should take it up and discuss it, because those things have to be, they won't go away like that. And it's most likely there might be spirits speaking to you to convince you of things like that. So it won't just go in darkness. I would say you bring it up to your pastor, which might be me. I assume I'm the one, or Pastor Femi, or Pastor Bukumi, or whoever it is. And so, like I told you, I've had this conversation. So these are conversations that I have. There's no problem. If you come and tell me you have this problem, I'm not going to drive you away. Do you understand? We'll talk through, we'll get to the bottom of the matter, we'll find out what's the actual issue. And it's possible maybe I made mistakes, and you might be the one who will call my attention to it. And then with more light into this, I believe to be addressed.
Yeah, thank you, Pastor. Because we must also know that pastors, they do these things with fear, okay? As those who must give account So pastors will give account to everyone that God has sent their way. So, and if this person still has issues, please, see one of your pastors. Like Pastor said, he's not going to drive you away.
If this spoke to you, do not sit with it in silence. Talk to your pastor. They are not there to drive you away. They are there to walk with you. Thank you.